Let's move. We are finally here, guys. I'm talking the Rose Bowl. Alabama Crimson Tide. They are playing a playoff. What is technically a playoff team, I guess. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Notre Dame is 20-point underdogs. Do they have any chance to cover this?
To cover it? Yeah. I've been betting against the spread with Bama all season. I predict I predict like 42-28. I don't know, something like that. I think we win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't think it's close.
Yeah, and so every team has failed to contain Alabama. Alabama scores 45 points a game. Do we think Ian Book's getting to 28 points? That's the question you got to ask yourself here.
I don't think he's getting further than 28 points. I'll say that.
No.
And I think Bama can put up 35 without a doubt. Even though I think Notre Dame, they got a D, and Notre Dame is gonna run on us. Bama's defense is improved, but they're still soft, man. They're soft, and that's just how it is now. I guess there just aren't these elite powerhouse defenses to speak of anymore. But Notre Dame's gonna run on us. They're gonna have possession a lot because of that. So I think it's going to take a while for separation to actually happen, but I think it will, and Bama will win by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, and in that, like Notre Dame, their defense wasn't as bad as they seemed in that Clemson game. It's just Clemson, their skill players, they broke a lot of tackles. And
if you can contain Etienne, and when Etienne and Trevor Lawrence, if they are both on, you're not going to beat Clemson. Yeah. They're not necessarily going to always be on, though, as we've seen from this season. This is not this is an elite team. I think they and Bama are the best teams in the country, but it's Clemson. I don't know. I don't think they're quite as good as they were the last couple of years, but I still think they're going to win the title.
Okay, right. So this question's for Donnie, I suppose. If Clemson were to have played Notre Dame tight in their rematch, what would the spread on this be?
I would put it closer to probably 10, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you put it right around double digits if that game was close, but Clemson won by about a touchdown?
Yeah, because if I don't think Alabama's any better than Clemson. I didn't see anything from Notre Dame versus Alabama, versus Clemson rather. But yeah, it seems like 20 is too much for me to want to get down on. So you actually had a good idea for how we can make money New Year's Day.
Right. 100%. I do see Alabama scoring a lot because if it's one thing, speaking of Vanderbilt, Eli, Vanderbilt's new head coach is Notre Dame's defensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So they're losing to DC. But maybe Brett Venables steps in for Notre Dame.
As soon as Vandy hired Clark Lee, he gave up 34 to Clemson. But also Notre Dame's D has not been great. I mean, so they played Clemson. I gave up 34 to Trevor and 40 to the other kid, the Hawaiian kid, I think.
Tua.
No.
Mariota?
No.
Johnny Aloha.
No. Clemson's
Pineapple.
backup quarterback.
Oh, okay.
They gave up 40 to him in South Bend. He also gave up 31 to Boston College and 21 to a terrible Syracuse team. Like that defense, you can score on them easily.
Yeah, I hear you.
And for that reason, I think Alabama can score enough to cover pretty much anything. But if you think that Bama can win by 2 touchdowns, which I think is easy, if you tease that number down, you can get Bama minus 13.5, and you can get Clemson at basically a pick 'em. And I think that's the best play of the college football playoff is to just tease both the favorites.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm behind that 100%. The 7-point tease. I don't know, if we just want to put an epitaph on the Notre Dame Clemson Alabama game. Every year following the NFL draft, I see Notre Dame defenders getting picked who are usually D linemen or linebackers. The secondary is not as good as their other defensive units. And against what is another historic Alabama receiving core, I think they're going to be overmatched.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that play.